All right, Rob, let's get into it. The Big Ten today suspends. We all know about the investigation that was going on into the cheating scandal, the sign-stealing scandal with Michigan.
I thought it was a lot to do about nothing, but go ahead.
Well, Jim Harbaugh has been suspended today by the Big Ten for the remaining 3 games on the schedule, the regular season games, which is really all the Big Ten can do. They can't, they don't control the playoff. So they did what they could do. Michigan is going to file, I believe, an injunction to try to see if Harbaugh can play tomorrow night. They did it, Rob, on Veterans Day, but they still, even though the courts and stuff are closed in a lot of places, they still are going to be able to, I believe, there's some way they can get their case heard. But so Harbaugh, Rob, here's the interesting thing. Suspended from the sidelines. Now, he can still coach the team during the week, but he's suspended from the sidelines. And I don't know if Rob G's gotten an answer to this now, but can he coach from the box? Right? Can he sit up in the coach's box in the stadium and coach?
It's not specified, but I doubt it.
I just wonder why they wouldn't just specify. And you hopefully you're right, because if he can coach from the box, then what's the point?
Right, there is no penalty.
I mean, my gosh. So what are your thoughts on this, Rob? A lot of people, think that the NCAA, or I'm sorry, the Big Ten rushed to judgment. Some people think it's fair. Some people think it's not enough. Where are you at on this?
I think people who think that the Big Ten has it out for Michigan, I just think that's wrong. I really do. It is not in their best interest to have this school that has a chance to go to a national championship game and win, to have them out and not playing.
Totally agree.
It does make totally Chris agree. Makes no sense. So this whole notion.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, has Michigan dominated football that much in the Big Ten?
No.
Please.
Stop it.
Right,
Stop.
Exactly.
They got
it's
one
like
national championship, Chris, in the last 100 years.
1997.
Right. Stop it with all that. That's what I don't get. Oh, they're jealous of Michigan. Jealous of what?
The last 2 years?
Right. And it's a positive for the conference, Chris. The Big Ten.
Right.
Tony Batiti, who's the new Big Ten commissioner. Chris, you don't want to do this unless you have to. Unless you absolutely have to. There's no way this is something that he's doing on a whim or with flimsy evidence. Come on. I don't buy it. To do this on the eve of the big game against Penn State, and then they got the Ohio State game. Really?
All the negative attention is bringing to the Big Ten. Yeah.
To do it, Chris, that's not what you want to do. And for all the people, Jim Harbaugh. Pete Rose said he was innocent too, Chris, for 14 years. The Patriots said they didn't do anything wrong either. And neither did the Astros. So stop with the just because people say that they haven't done anything, Chris, doesn't mean that it's so. Stop.
Yeah, I'm with you, Rob. And the Big Ten, and Rob G, if we get any of these facts, because obviously stuff is coming out, but as if we get any facts wrong, hop in and correct us. But the Big Ten also said, Rob, in bringing this down, that they wanted something to happen this season. Because if you leave it to the NCAA, they weren't going to really be able to do anything to Michigan this season.
Right.
At best, it seemed like, let's say Michigan wins out, beats Ohio State, beats Penn State, beats Maryland, plays in a college football playoff, wins it. Let's just say they win it. I don't know that they would, but let's say they win it. And then several months later, there is a ruling. Michigan's appeal has been heard, and they strip Michigan of the title.
Right.
Rob, nobody's going to acknowledge that stripping. Oh, yeah, it'll be on the news and we'll talk about it, but it won't mean anything. We all look at Reggie Bush, and I believe rightfully so, but we all look at him as a Heisman Trophy winner. Does it matter that he was stripped of it? No. So I'm with you. I agree. There needed to be some form of punishment for this season. And this isn't really, I I don't know how harsh this is. I don't know if this.
But at least they did something,
right,
Chris. They did
the players
something.
are still going to be able to play. The games at this point they're not like in danger of losing, all the wins they've had this season and last season. They're not in danger if they win out of missing the college football playoff. He can still freaking coach during the week. I mean, and he doesn't call the plays anyway.
And here's the other thing, too, and this was reported, right? Chris, this ain't coming from Ohio State. This is an inside job. Somebody inside the organization is the one who supposedly leaked this information of what was happening. And you know that. That's something that's serious in that we're this isn't Ohio State or Penn State dropping dime, Chris, right before the big game.
Right.
Trying to get like that. That would be something different.
No, you're right. And I also heard today, as I was watching some of the reporters on television talk about this, that Michigan, again, no surprise, Rob, but Michigan has said that Jim Harbaugh had no knowledge of what was going on.
Shame on him.
Here's what I want to hear. Well, first of all, there is an NCAA rule that the head coach is responsible, whether he knew or not, he's responsible for what goes on with his program, and that's how it should be. Secondly, though, Rob, I want to hear somebody talk about, did Michigan use the information they received from the spy?
Right.
From, what's his name, Connor?
And Chris.
What's his full name? Connor. His last name is escaping me. Rob G, what was the dude's last name?
The guy who stepped down. The guy who stepped down.
But
Stallions, Chris.
Connor Stallions. That's right. Connor Stallions. And here's the thing. I would imagine that they used it. Why is he doing it if he's not going to use it?
It doesn't make any
sense.
sense.
It to somebody. He's on staff. And secondly, Rob, if they used it, I don't know how in the world Jim Harbaugh could not know about it.
Chris, right.
If they tell you, hey, when this sign goes up, when they do this or whatever, this is the play they're running.
Where'd you get that from?
Not right. Harbaugh's not saying, yeah, well, how do we know that?
Where'd you get that from? How do you know that? Right. What? Really? Oh, okay. What? Yeah, well, I was on the sidelines and I recorded their signals.
Right.
And then the video, you saw the picture of him on the sidelines at Central Michigan. Incognito.
Yeah.
Like, and if he didn't do anything, Chris, and what I've heard the whole time, I've never heard them say none of this is true and this is all poppycock and it's
right.
Jim Harbaugh doesn't know. It's
he got
like
suspended, or he retired.
Right, he quit. Right.
Say, yeah.
And if the guy didn't do anything, Chris, why is he not with the Wolverines? I mean, come on.
Well, Rob, what they sent to the NCAA was evidence of other teams doing it.
Right. And that was the thing, that they shared information, Chris.
Right.
Which is a standard practice. We talked about this before.
And I've thought about it, and I will say that like you said, they shared the game film, which happens. Did Rutgers, I'm just throwing out that name, Rutgers tell Ohio State, and these are their signs. I guess in theory, that's similar to, like that's almost like Ohio State would have had somebody at that Rutgers game that got the signs. So I don't know if that's written in the rule book. Is that wrong? But the bottom line is that still doesn't absolve Michigan from what they did. That is in the rule book, what they did for sure. I'm not sure about the other situation, but
supposedly coaches do it all the time. Chris, you might know. All it is, hey, what do they do? They got this trick play that they run. You better be careful.
Right.
Coaches exchange information. It doesn't mean that they're going to run everything that they ran against you. But
they
it's
might
just
change the signs,
right,
too.
and
That's
change stuff. So you don't really know.
And the thing is, Rob, it's a rule. Whether you think it's a bad rule, I've heard people say that, and that might be fair. It might be, but it's a rule right now. It's a rule, and you broke it, and that's what I mean. It just is what it is. You broke the rule, and Rob, if there was no benefit to it, then why is Connor Stallions jumping through all those hoops
for what?
To make this happen?
Come on,
right?
It doesn't even make sense.
And like you said, right, he was on staff. So it's never odd that he's not at the games, that he's always out of town.
He's out of town on Saturdays? Right. Where is he?
Dude, why aren't you at the games? Come on.
It doesn't make sense. And
No.
for people who are just thinking that the Big Ten has it in for Michigan, stop. Come on. They don't want to do it. You think baseball doesn't want Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame, Chris?
Right.
The all-time hit leader. They had no choice. The evidence was overwhelming. Stop. Come on.